doing the rest of the cladding, the sheathing, and the cladding. Do the last couple windows we got to do in here, and then draw the score lines for our cladding as well. So what I'm going to do first is kind of try and locate where some of my windows are, so I can use that information as I wrap up the sheathing here. So again, I'm just going to use my plan as a reference here and draw some boxes. So I'm looking in where my window is here. Oh, that didn't work. Just draw it up to some dimension. And actually what I'm going to do as well is, let's see, move this guy up to align to the framing and the CMU wall. Bring that down a little bit, there we go. And this one actually goes right the way out the wall, so we're cutting through that in section. Let's see, then we have another window over here that we're just going to see framed out. So I'll just draw that right up to where this one goes, then scale the bottom. Okay. And then I think finally we have a window that goes in that CMU wall. So what I'm going to do here is, also draw the vertical score lines for the CMU wall on that big tall wall. So I'll go back to that layer. And I'm going to start actually from the inside. Let me turn off some stuff so I can see a little better. I'm going to start from the inside of where this wall meets that one. All right. Move that over 8 inches, 0.333. Copy 16. Hit the wall, right in the end, okay. All right, and then I'll select all those lines. And I'll copy that to every vertical layer. So group them, copy them. Oops, set it to vertical as well. Oops, copy, vertical. All right, let's grab all those and group them really quick. Okay, turn the rest of this stuff back on. And then I'll draw that last window. Looks like we did get pretty close to hitting the right line. All right. All right, great. Scale these up a little bit. And let me really quickly just make sure. Okay. So I think we have everything. So I'm going to do this real quick. Boolean difference. Take that window out. That's good. And I could ungroup this. Get rid of those lines that wouldn't be there. Actually, let me just delete those as well. Contour. There we go. So we can get the group that. We'll get the lines that match the window framing there, and copy that or change that to the scored lines for the CMU wall. Delete the, oops, missed one. All right. Let's do this one real quick, get it out of the way. So what we're going to do here basically is just kind of frame out where this window would go, just like with the windows that we moved or adjusted down here. Just going to move this guy to hit right in between. Oops, did not mean to do that. Move this guy to hit right in between two of those. Oops, scale it down. There we go. So I'll take that one and Boolean difference it. Actually, but before I do that, I'll make those last bits. So just kind of like with the door, you would actually have a horizontal piece of framing that creates this window here. It's getting hard to see. Okay. And then I'll take this one away, Boolean. Actually, I could scale this up. All right, Boolean difference. There we go. This is how we would frame out that window. So those two are ready to go. And then over here, let's see where we're at. So I'm going to bring this guy over so that it more or less intersects with that piece of frame there. Finish up my framing. Just copy that down below. Alright, so I'm going to copy this to the clipboard. Copy to clipboard. Take it out of this guy, Boolean difference, and then I'll paste it again. Scale 1D, and take it out of this guy, Boolean difference. There we go. So we framed out that window, and what I'll also do here. Grab these edges, move them down by minus 1/32. Grab these edges, move them up by 1/32. To kind of wrap around. So when you're grabbing edges like this, the way you tell, so you see how those arrows are pointing? That means that that edge is connected to this surface. In other words, the arrow points towards the surface that it's connected to in that surface, which means that this edge is actually belongs to that green piece of the framing. So I don't want to grab that. I want to grab the edge of the sheathing. All right, and I'll move it out. Okay. And we pretty much model this the same way Oh, I'm sorry, actually, well, okay, so you can choose to do this if you wish, but we're actually going to add some window frames in here too, so we don't really need to worry too much about that for right now. So I'm just going to leave that one as is so that the sheathing meets the edges of the framing. Same thing with this guy over here, because generally we'd have like a door frame that comes in there and then a piece of trim that wraps around between the cladding and the door frame. Okay, what is this doing? Delete that. Delete that as well. Okay. Great. So now I'm going to go ahead and continue, or complete cladding, complete the sheathing, I mean. So just like before, I'm basically going to wrap the interior. Just copy that guy over. We can actually turn our 2D layer off to make it a little easier. Alright, plane, vertical, go from the inside of the two pieces I already drew. Okay, offset. Then I can draw this box again to trim it away. Alright, and then draw the ceiling. Same over here. Actually, there, okay. Box. Oh, what? Oh. Offset. Then boolean. Okay. Those little dots. Alright, so we'll draw another plane for the inside of this guy. And then I'm actually going to draw these edges down, pull these edges down here. I also need to pull this edge in, actually. So it covers that. And then I'll draw these edges down. Yeah, that should be fine. All right. There we go. So we clad the inside for the part that's, meant to be covered. And then we got to kind of finish doing the roof system. All right. So I'm going to move all the top edges up a little bit. So I'm going to turn everything else off. Again, Control-Shift, select the edges. And I'm going to move them up 1/32 of an inch. That way they'll extend past, you know, the bit of cladding that's going to go on the roof. Or on the top of the wall, really. Okay, box, get rid of it. Okay. All right. And then I guess we wouldn't have it over there. All right. So that pretty much wraps up. Let me get this guy real quick. Wraps up the sheathing here. Oops, I did that wrong. And what I want to do next is model the framing for the windows. I guess probably I should start on the bottom floor. So I'm going to make a new layer called window framing. Get a different color. Let's get rid of all the second story stuff so we can see a little better. All right. So this is basically, it's basically like a sliding glass window, or sliding glass door, I'm sorry. So what I'm going to do, is model a plane. And what we would generally have here is like a frame that goes all the way around the part that's kind of holding the glass. In this particular case, so let me actually just do a straight up window first. Plane, vertical. I'll go to the inside on this guy. All right, and then I'm going to take that guy and I'm going to go duplicate border. And with that border selected, I'm just going to offset it. So just offset, not offset surface. And I'm going to offset it by 1/32 of an inch, and then click towards the inside of the window. So you see I basically duplicated the outside edge of the surface as a curve, Because I did do border, it's a closed curve, a closed joined curve, so even though there's 4 edges, it's joined, offset to the inside, and then I can delete the original. Then I'll take this guy and I'll trim that surface and delete it. And then this guy, all you gotta do is extrude surf. And then we can pull that out to wherever we want it to go. Maybe let's say we want it to extend a little bit past the wall. And so basically we would have a similar thing happen here. Oops. Bring it in, delete the original, trim the frame, delete that. Alright, and so this guy, we're going to bring it all the way back into the inside edge of the wall, extrude surface. Right the way out, alright. And then we'll do the same to kind of model the doors. Oops, did that wrong. Vertical. Uh-oh. So I'm going to half because if there's 2 sliding doors, we want each one to cover about half. Actually, they'd be a little larger, but we'll just ignore that. Same process as before. And then this guy I'm going to extrude just to the middle. And then I'll copy it. And then we probably want to model it something like that, like have the kind of sliding door part way open. That way we understand that there's that it's a door and not just a window. So these ones over here are actually part of an exterior courtyard, right? So we have the CMU wall that wraps the kind of interior courtyard that's more private, so it's still an outdoor space. And then we got those windows for light and stuff like that. So those will just leave kind of exposed like that. And then over here we got something a little bit different going on. So we have not just the kind of sliding door system. Let's look at the plan here. We also have a regular swing door, and then we have a couple windows too, kind of in between those elements. So what we would do down here is we kind of frame out the window independently, and then frame out the sliding door. And so we would model that actually just a little bit differently. So we're going to model this as independent planes first. And we're going to leave a space where the door is. Second, copy that to the ceiling. Oops. And then actually at the ceiling, or at that beam up there, it would go all the way across. Right. And then I'm going to take this plane up, offset it. Oops. Let's bring it over there. And I'm also going to bring it over to where I would have like the framing for those windows. And we can kind of, I mean, this part's really up to you, you know, like how you would design this. But again, you know, you would typically have in a residential building a door that's about 80 inches. Which is 3.333. So you could frame that out as well if you wanted to have a separate door. Again, modeling the door would be kind of the same thing. Deep border. offset. Maybe we go a little bit bigger on this one. And then extrude. And maybe we go a little bit smaller on that guy. So it would be sitting somewhere in the middle, and you could even kind of rotate it. So again, that's clear that that's a door. And then to do this sliding door, I'm just going to copy this guy over. To copy it and move it at the same time, or I'm sorry, change its direction at the same time, I'm going to use the command orient. So I'm going to turn the option to copy to yes. And I'll snap to the bottom corner outside like that. Set 2 points. Snap to the bottom corner here. Set 2 points. And I'm done. So I copied it and reoriented it to this wall all in one move. And then I could take that guy, go cut plane, just draw a line along my section plane, trim it, delete the cut plane, and then cap it to close that open edge. There we go. Alright, so that's our first floor dealt with. Let's turn on the rest of those layers again. Alright, so I'm going to model this window just like and this window, just like I did that one. I'm going to go plane, vertical. I'm going to draw it out a little bit. Border, offset, 32nd, set the wrong way there. Alright, border. Alright. And then, same as before, cut plane. Just draw it somewhere along my section cut line. Oh, looks like I missed. Plane. Alright. So then with our door frame, we'll do kind of the same thing. Make a vertical plane. Bring it all the way up. Do border. This one's a little bit harder, so I just duplicated the border. And then instead of offsetting, first I'm going to explode that line. Hold Control on the keyboard and click on the bottom edge to deselect just that edge. Rejoin the line. And then offset it. Because we would actually have, just continuous floor down there. Maybe I'll do a 16th on this guy. Oops. And then trim. Create the original. Extrude that surface in. And I think I can just copy this door. So again, I'm going to use the command orient. I already have copy set to yes. I'm going to use 2 points. So one of them is the corner where the door starts from, and then the other is the direction. So again, up here, I'll start with that corner and set the direction. It looks like it's a little tall. That's weird. Let's see. I'll just bring those edges down. Control Shift, Control Shift. Move vertical. All right. And then up above, I'm also going to copy this assembly I have down here, because this wall, this kind of wall of the unit is basically the same situation. We have to make some adjustments, but we'll start with this. Get rid of that sliding door. Okay, somebody's going to orient, go from one corner, choose a second point to set the direction, move up, go from one corner, choose a second point, and then press enter. Oh yeah, so we're really flying there. All right. So we won't need that. Move this guy down. See if we can easily select this. All right. So it looks like that window extends all the way over to here. Let's see if we can copy this door. Oh, actually it'll be a little bit short, I think. Oh, that's right, okay, great. And then we'll try and copy these sliding doors from below. And we can orient. Why is it flipping? It is weird. But whatever, let's just put them in place. Oops. Huh. All right, perfect. Oh, this is actually way too big. Bring it about to middle. Copy it and move it. Let's move this guy. Oh, we also need a vertical member at the end. Okay. So it's not quite long enough, but no one will know. There we go. All right. All right, so we have the window framing done, we have all the structural framing done, and we have the sheathing done. So there's one last step we got to take, which is to do the cladding. What we want to do when we do the cladding is kind of, generally when that buildings like that are assembled, you would have some kind of strapping or structural, not structural framing, but some kind of framing attached to the sheathing that kind of holds the cladding off away from the wall. Since the cladding is basically just the kind of surface of the building, it's not really the enclosure, it's not the material that forms the the sealed envelope of the building. So we would have some kind of cladding here. So there's a couple things we want to note. I mean, I'm going to show you how to do like a metal panel, but with metal panels, as with anything, we would have kind of spacing or gaps in between the panels, and there would be some kind of registration, most likely, of like where the kind of windows are, the heights, for example, like all the heights of the windows and doors are along one edge there. Actually, I suppose they're not, are they? This is below. So let's actually just change that really quick. I suppose we have to do this too, even though. Okay, that's better. Alright, so what we want to do first is let's draw out kind of a box or a wrapper for the exterior. I'm going to call this layer my cladding. We're just going to model it as a surface and then, come back later and sort of determine how to define the panel gaps. All right, polyline. And I'm just going to work from the top edge, kind of outline what that surface would be. Okay. I'm going to take that top edge, I'm going to say we should model it at about a 32nd of an inch. So let me offset that curve. Make sure the option cap is set to none. And then we also want it to stand off or stand away from the wall again. Like I said, there would be like some kind of strapping or framing that holds it away from the sheathing. So I'm going to offset it first by a 32nd of an inch. And then I'll offset it again. Oops. And this time I am going to set cap to flat. What that does is it joins the two curves at the ends. Just like that, and then I'll extrude it. Actually, let's do them separate. Extrude curve. So this one obviously just goes down to where the finished floor is. But this one we want to go past. Oops. Extrude curve. To the right, where the bottom of the wall is, essentially. So let's also go through now and wait, is that a 32nd? Did I mess that up? It's the 16th. Why is that? Let's try that again. And divided by 32. No cap. Oops. Okay, great. So yeah, just like before, I'm going to go ahead and use like boxes to trim away. Let's turn those CMU lines off. Or to Boolean difference the openings. Alright, let's push that out. Boolean difference. Oops, why didn't that work? All right. And then basically we could kind of design the control joint. So I'm also going to make a layer here. And maybe I should also point out, like, you know, I'm sure you realize that you'll have to kind of separate these as individual surfaces. So maybe I would just go in here and trim it. So split. Use that plane. So now we have two objects. Delete the plane. Oh, and I forgot one thing on this guy. We also need to trim away the wall and stuff. Okay. All right. And oh yeah, we can also cap it just to keep things clean if we want. Close those open edges. Okay, and then here, let's see. So basically we want to make a series of control lines, or like kind of panel gaps in between or on the surface here. Let me just turn off the framing really quick. So what I would kind of do is, first of all, I would separate it along the vertical, or sorry, along the horizontal where our window and doors are. So I'm going to draw a cut plane. I'm going to select all of those objects, draw a cut plane, I'm going to hit 3-point, and then I'm going to snap to the bottom there. It doesn't matter where we draw it, we just want a plane that goes all the way through all those surfaces. And then I'm going to use the command intersect. Oops. And I'll do them one at a time. So select each surface, then the plane, and hit intersect. Oops. What did I just do? Intersect. There we go. So I made a new layer for this. I'm going to call this my cladding score lines. All right. Now let's say we want to do a module that also hits the bottom of the window. So I'll move my plane down to the bottoms. Do the same thing, intersect. Oops. Alright. And then we've kind of pretty much established a module there, so let's move it again by the same increment. And repeat the intersect. Oops, wrong thing. Oh, that's actually pretty nice. So it hits, kind of registers where the floor is. That's good. So maybe on these guys, what we could do is just trim the bottoms there. Oops. All right. Oops, I missed one on that guy. Cut plane, 3-point. Intersect. Alright, and then we gotta do also some kind of vertical panel. So with these ones, maybe we'll, again, I'm going to use a cut plane, and I'm going to try and kind of register where the vertical window panel gaps are. So again, intersect. Here. All right. And then we got to do some kind of, on these longer spans, let's see, what is the distance of this? Some kind of vertical gap, 11.26 inches, all right. So if we were imagining 4-foot panels, 4 divided by 2, that would be every 2 inches basically. So I could take this, do cut plane, and then offset this guy, not solid, by 2 inches. So we get pretty much to the end, and I'd probably do the same on this guy. Offset, oops, offset surface. And again, you could use this as an opportunity to say, like, maybe some things should line up more. Sweet. And then sort of the last thing we got to do is go back and add some kind of strapping, something to hold these surfaces apart from the from the cladding or from the sheathing. So let's see. We probably want to just do this in like strips for ease of kind of material and stuff like that. So maybe what I'll do is I'll take all these guys, do another cut plane, 3-point, and I'm just going to go through the kind of middle of each of the vertical panels. Copy this vertical. Alright. Select objects. Intersect. Now before I do anything else, I'm just going to type isolate. So I can get rid of these lines, these vertical lines. Also going to type explode. Oops, I just want the outside lines basically. So join all these. Same thing over here. Not sure why that one's missing. So join all those. Great, and then yeah, just going to take all these lines and extrude them. Extrude curve. So let's say, I don't know, they're a 1/16 of an inch. And let's actually go in both directions there. Alright. Delete those. And then offset surface by 32nd. Solid. Offset them to the outside. Yeah. All right. Let's put all that stuff on another layer. Did I not make one? All right, strapping. What color have I not used? Right, and then type in show to bring everything back. I'll delete those. Uh-oh. I guess I offset them the wrong way. So let's back up a couple of steps there. Guess we actually want to delete the outsides. turn this back on real quick. So everything on a new layer, strapping, okay, so we offset them inside. Again, this is something that you'll probably model just by cutting some sticks by hand. But, you know, just to kind of plan it out. Let's see, what on earth? Guess we missed a couple lines there. All right. So I think that should pretty much wrap up this video. In the next video, I'm going to walk you through the final steps, which will be just to lay everything out for laser cutting. All right, so sign off now.